Now the election back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget fights and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Ooh.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique want you and I to put our hands to the plow and build it back better. Let us work to transform this place we call home. So I want to welcome you to the hub. Again, another opportunity that we have to talk, to discuss, to engage in a meaningful dialogue. I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube, please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you share the program on your page, your friends get the opportunity to view, to be a part of the audience. You may underestimate that, but if you want the program or the message to reach thousands of people, you need to share the program. You need to tell people about the page so they can subscribe to the YouTube channel, so that they can follow the Facebook page. It is so, so important. I want to start off tonight by saying from day one, the NNP knew what they were going to do regarding this disaster, the hurricane. And we heard that firstly from Keith Mitchell. When Keith was asked in that interview, or when he said that very straightforward thing or statement, when he made that statement, if asked, we will come forward, we will help, we're going to, see what we can do, so to speak, words to that effect. He was actually giving you a cue as to how they're going to approach this, because they still believe that they're dealing with a young team of men and women, and they could do anything here and get away with it.
How we can help and what advice we can give, we certainly will do so. If asked, we will certainly do so, because we believe this is not about the politics. This is not about NNP and NDC. It's just about what is best for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique.
Right. So that's the first true color of Keith Mitchell and the NNP. If asked, we're going to come forward and help in whatever way we can. You don't need to ask anyone during a disaster to come forward. Grenada, or at least Petite Martinique, Carriacou, St. Patrick, and St. Mark were affected directly by Hurricane Beryl. We know Carriacou and Petite Martinique got, greater damage, right? The devastation was severe, really, really bad, catastrophic. But you have a former prime minister who experienced Hurricane Ivan, who experienced Hurricane Emily as prime minister, saying, if asked, why should you have to come and ask him to help, to assist in any way possible? You understand the point? So that was the first true picture of the man. So then we heard about the youth arm doing X and doing Y, because, you know, everybody these days want political mileage. All right. So then we heard about the youth arm and what the youth arm will be doing. And people start saying, but wait, the youth arm of the NNP, they want to go ahead and do their own thing. They're not interested in joining in with the national cleanup campaign and the whole outreach and so on. They're not interested in that. All right? They want to do their own thing. So we heard that. Andre Donald speaking about it. You know, Andre is like a puppet of the NNP in my belief. So we heard him.
NNP Youth Arm in St. Patrick, they have started, the entire youth arm, but in St. Patrick, they've started a cleanup brigade. You understand? They've started a cleanup brigade. That is something that you see, that is how you have to pay attention and realize what people are doing. Not doing so and looking for opportunity to put on jersey. You understand? Put on jersey and pose and say that they're part of cleanup campaign and clean up Grenada and whatever. Yeah, you need to clean up Grenada, clean up NDC out of Grenada.
Right. So that's Andre Donald, you know, a little puppet of the NNP in my belief. Not surprising, but he was actually promoting and saying the NNP youth arm, they intend to start a cleanup brigade. So they're not interested in joining in with a national cleanup drive taking place in the country. When I say the country, I refer to St. Patrick, St. Mark, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. They are not interested in that. They want to do their own thing, separate and apart from everybody else, right? So you kind of get a gauge as to where they were heading from day one. Keith Mitchell came out and said, if asked. So the most honorable Deacon Mitchell and the government, they need to go and ask him to come and help and be a part of this. Then we heard Andre Donald, you know, he's a little puppet, in my belief, of the NNP, talking about the youth arm of the NNP setting up this cleanup brigade, all right? This cleanup brigade. And then we heard them speak about the portable toilets that they want to set up in Carriacou. I don't know if they managed to bring up the couple toilets that they were talking about. And then people start to say, well, who going to clean it? Who going to maintain this thing? Right? Because they have this view that it's kind of outdoor thing that they're going to set up. And then they say, well, they put on their Facebook page, well, the MP or the Minister of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs has some reservation with that move. And they start injecting the politics in all of this conversation. But it's not surprising. And then you saw Kate Lewis out there, I think it's in the United States, with Nimrod Oliver.
So much people suffering, cannot living and not balling. Cannot still happening. We have to stop the rebuilding. Why? As she said, you break 50. Listen, look how there is come and mash the whole country down. So much people suffering, cannot living and not balling. Cannot still happening. We have to stop the rebuilding.
Right. So that is how you see Domrod there, Domrod Oliver, or Nimrod Oliver, I think is his name, and Kate Lewis, MP Kate Lewis. I don't know if they're in the United States or wherever outside of this place with Zingo, Madman Zingo, I think people call him, his Calypso name or his soca name or whatever. But it is so insensitive, all right, that the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, they're going through, this period after experiencing Hurricane Beryl at Category 4 wind speed. And they're still traumatized. They have a long way to go for recovery. And you have this guy singing with these people, kayaks on a tarpaulin and da 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 da. And it is just so distasteful. But we are not surprised. People who have some sense would know from day one that is exactly what Keith Mitchell and the NNP wanted. They don't want to unite the country. They don't want to build back the country. They don't want that. They want things to be really bad. So they on their different programs condemning every single thing that the government does. They're on their program, the different podcasts and talk show programs, going after the government on so many different fronts. So this CRIF, right? This insurance that the World Bank asked those countries to sign on to, it's not something that came from Keith Mitchell's, intellect or brain or anything of that sort. No, the World Bank, and it's not only Grenada, it's a number of other Caribbean islands under the same CCRIF, CRIF as they call it. So it's nothing extraordinary. It's nothing new. All these islands are under that. So it's not Keith Mitchell's doing, or Keith Mitchell come up with that idea. So he going on his page trying to take credit for this insurance policy. It makes me laugh, right? It makes me laugh. And then on their program, they're trying to take credit for it, Yeah, why are you trying to take credit in a disaster? You're trying to take credit for what? I could see if the man came up with the idea or he initiated the thing. He started the thing. He had the idea and he started the thing and so on. And it's the World Bank, the World Bank that attached this thing as a condition to get the aid and the assistance and so on to all these islands. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they too benefiting from the CRIF. The same thing. So it's not anything extraordinary. It's not that Keith Mitchell did something special or no. All the governments that came, they were paying every month or every year into this particular insurance for Grenada. So to try to take credit, it's amazing, but that is their strategy. They don't want to see a smooth recovery. They don't want to see Grenada bounce back and Carriacou and Petit Martinique bounce back. They are not interested in that. They want Grenada on its knees, and the evidence is there to show that. They want to see Grenada on its belly flat, on its face. They're vexed that so far Grenada has received significant support regionally and internationally. Well, domestically, first and foremost, our people sprung into action and doing what we must do to help our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, St. Patrick and St. Mark. But regionally and internationally, we have seen an outpouring of support. The Caribbean Development Bank only recently visited Carriacou.
President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Isaac Solomon, led a mission to Carriacou and Petit Martinique on Wednesday to conduct an assessment of the damage to formulate response strategies. The mission is part of the CDB-supported regional response mechanism, which symbolizes resources to territories most severely affected by hurricanes. CDB deployed staff to Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines to assist in delivering immediate response support following the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah, what I've seen in Carriacou is a story of two tales, really, where I'm seeing a few houses that are still intact, more than I expected, but then that is given the size of the island as well. But I'm also seeing more total destruction, where some properties are totally destroyed. There's nothing left. And so, but overall, the destruction is pretty catastrophic. And it's going to take a whole lot to recover from an event like this.
Solomon told GIS the mission will assess the immediate needs and long-term recovery efforts of the affected islands.
Well, we work through the government, and so there are some things that will have to be done on both sides, and I wouldn't want to speak to that, but just be assured that, and I'm pretty sure the government, we are all vested in ensuring that we are able to, first of all, respond to the immediate situation and then to speak to the long-term recovery efforts.
Very good there indeed. Very good indeed. So the Caribbean Development Bank, their mission came to assess, and very soon you're going to hear about some kind of grant aid or some kind of concessionary loan or something as it relates to that.
On behalf of CRIF SPC, I would like to present you with a check for the single largest payout in the history of CRIF in the amount of $44,040,627 US.
Thank you. On behalf of the government and people of Grenada, I am pleased to accept the check of over $44 million US to aid in the recovery and the rebuilding efforts of Grenada.
Mr. Houston, on behalf of the Board of and Management of CRIF SPC, I would like to present you with a check of US $9,323,276. And let me also say that this is actually the very first payout that any electric utility is receiving since we started offering the product in the year 2019.
Mr. Isaac, on behalf of GrenLec, our Board of Directors, Management and staff, I am absolutely delighted to receive this check on behalf of the company. Within 14 days, okay, you have communicated to us, and now we're at a stage where I'm actually receiving this check. Be assured that this will be used to rebuild, strengthen, and add the necessary resilience, okay, we need to improve our system in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
Mr. Smith, on behalf of the Quick SP program affiliated with the CRIF facility, I want to present you with the first ever payout to a water utility in the region, $2.2 million US. So congratulations to the board and management of NAWASA for certainly making a good investment decision, and I urge you to continue to prepare for your disaster financing and management needs. Thank you.
Mr. Osborne, on behalf of the board, management, and staff, I convey our heartfelt thanks for the speed and efficiency with which this operation took place. These funds would be used to strengthen the resilience of NAWASA's water systems.
Right, so CRIF paid out that money there, and Grenada would need another 200 million or so to really see Carriacou and Petit Martinique rebuild and for them to bounce back St. Patrick, St. Mark, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So we are a long way from what we really need to do the whole recovery, rebuilding, to restore, to get back to some sense of normalcy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But what is amazing about all of this, you have Keith Mitchell and the NNP, they're trying to take credit for this. And you wonder, the level of desperation is too much. If you ask me, the level of desperation is too much. And they cross the line, or they crossing the line. No, they have really, crossed the line with this, if you ask me, because I could see if it was an initiative of the NNP, right? It's not an initiative of the NNP to ensure the country or Grenlec entering into this insurance company or coverage, or NAWASA ensuring its property, and so it's not an NNP initiative. It's a World Bank thing. The World Bank initiated that whole thing for the region. So to come now and try to take credit for it, it's like you're desperate. You're really, really desperate. So I saw on Mikey Hutchinson's page this thing from the NNP taking credit and talking about visionary leadership and all kind of rubbish. Sometimes it sickens me to the core. Sickens me to the core. You did not do anything special for Grenada? No. When NDC came into power, they could have decided not to pay or continue paying, Or the NNP coming to the end, they could have done that too. Yeah. Or the NDC, the previous NDC. This is taxpayers' money. This is not Keith Mitchell money. In fact, Keith Mitchell has $19 million. And he will not spend 1 cent of his money to help the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, or St. Patrick or St. Mark recover from this hurricane, or from the damage caused by this hurricane. He will not do that. He will not spend his money. So to come now and give people the impression that this visionary leader do something extraordinary. Grenada doesn't belong to Keith Mitchell. No. And if the World Bank mandated that all these islands pay into that insurance, so that if a disaster occurs, they can be compensated promptly. That's not your doing. No, it's not your doing. But anyways, the NNP is desperate. Desperate because people getting to know that Keith Mitchell was on some battleship after Hurricane Ivan, and Jenny Simon went on a program questioning that.
Here's what I've learned. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell was at Mount Royal, which got severely damaged by Hurricane Ivan. They left Mount Royal with him, his security, and went to his home in Happy Hill, where he rode out the storm among neighbors and people in the village who ran to his basement for cover after during the storm, when they lost their homes. And so, as I understand it, the security, his head security, Mr. Jones from St. Patrick, is still alive and in St. Patrick. So that's a place you can go get some information. It was rumored that Dr. Mitchell went on the ship to meet U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell. However, my investigation showed me that Dr. Mitchell meeting U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell at the Point Salines Airport, International Airport, on October the 7th, 2004, as he flew into Grenada to view the damages caused by Hurricane Ivan. If you look there, you'd see the photo. Colin Powell came by plane and not by ship. There was indeed a U.S. battleship outside of our harbor. And it was not just, the battleship was not just for Grenada, it came and it was in the region. It made stops at whichever port Colin Powell himself made, and it was as a place of residence for the soldiers and for him if he needed to overnight somewhere.
Right. So, Jenny trying to justify, I don't know what, because we were able to get the evidence and I played that for you this morning because I am all about evidence, right? So that's Keith Mitchell himself.
Went on to the battleship. They said they would have the system up and running as the morning afterwards. I spent 3 hours. I wasted 3 hours. And there was nothing they could do because they claimed there was a problem with the band and their system, and they could not get me messages. I had to be making calls, and I said that was not the time for me making calls to specific organizations, and I want to talk to the Grenadian people. So I had to insist that I be taken back from the ship, back to the land. Whether they were pleased or not, I don't know, but I felt extremely uncomfortable that is known that I'm in somewhat battleship, eating and drinking and waiting to talk to people. I couldn't live with this. So I was back on the mainland and doing what I can. I went over the PA system yesterday. One day I went over by myself because security guys themselves, they were devastated, all of them around me. I felt sorry for them. They didn't know what happened to the children or wife or husbands, and you have to understand in times of this, you can't think about yourself alone. You have to think of everybody.
Right, so that's Keith Mitchell talking about the battleship experience and so on. The evidence is there. The most honorable Deacon Mitchell, he did not go on any battleship or anywhere and hide. He's with the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And that is why his favorability rating increased significantly. He toured Carriacou and Petit Martinique with his regional counterparts.
Leaders have jumped to the rescue of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique following the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl on Monday, July 1st. On Wednesday, a few of the leaders accompanied Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell to tour some of the severely affected areas on the sister island to gain a first-hand appreciation of the damage and immediate needs of the country. Prime Ministers of St. Kitts and Nevis, Terence Drew, St. Lucia, Philip Pierre, Dominica Roosevelt-Skerrit, and French Ambassador to Grenada, Francis Etienne, all pledged their commitment to support the restoration and rebuilding efforts for the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
I am still in a bit of shock with the extent of the devastation here on Carriacou and in the Grenadines in general. I'm thinking about the people who have been so affected and how are they dealing with it. And I want to start by extending support from St. Kitts and Nevis, and to say to the people of the Grenadines and Grenada that we are with you. You are not alone. I want to also say that the OECS, as chair as the OECS, outgoing chair, that the OECS is with Grenada and the Grenadines as well. To the people of Carriacou, Grenadines, St. Vincent, Grenada, more power to you. You are not alone. We are with you.
I'd seen some of the devastation on television, but you have to see for yourself. I don't think I can describe what I saw today. What was most striking is that the people seem to be resilient. The people seem to want to pick up the pieces. I can only wish them well. It is total devastation. And for probably islands in the region who have not seen that level of devastation, I think they should try to understand what a hurricane is and take all necessary steps to be prepared for such an eventuality.
These
instances, these storms come and people get to understand the challenges and the alarm that we've been talking about. So we'll work with the government of Grenada as we can to help with the reconstruction and rebuilding. At CARICOM level, as you know, we have a subcommittee of prime ministers who have been charged with coordinating the mobilization of resources. And even if the storm did not affect Dominica, but I serve on that committee as well, because I believe it's important for us to show solidarity, because any island that gets affected, we all affected, one way or the other. And so I want to urge the people of Grenada to work together. This is not a time for us to point fingers and lay blame at anybody. This is a time for us to come together and to help those persons who are in need. And if you cannot be constructive at this time, then it makes no sense to speak, because that's not what the people of Carriacou and Peter Martinic want to hear. People want to hear hope, confidence, and that their lives and livelihoods will be restored.
When we see our sister nations in the Caribbean being hit and people being distressed, there's no question for the French not to intervene, not to support. So we were asked to provide kits which were delivered by the Navy boat du Mont d'Urville those last days. We were asked to have the possibility to see from above today with the helicopter how extensive the damages were. And we are simply not happy to provide, because this is not a happy circumstance, but we think it's our duty and expression of solidarity for the people and the government of Martinique and Guadeloupe. And so here we are. We will provide assistance as needed. The boat will return next week to Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And if we can be of any help, of any assistance, and later in a reconstruction as French and as European, we will be happy to provide.
The regional heads say climate change is real and small island developing states are more vulnerable and at risk. They are hopeful that in the not too distant future, international countries will realize a continuous call for the reduction of gas emissions and other factors that contribute to climate change is accurate and can be considered.
The next decade for the Caribbean is going to be devastating. This will become a reality. It is a hard fact to face, but it's a fact that we must face. This year, we are being hit by category 4 or 5 early in the season. Next year, it's going to be basically the same in terms of the risk, because we did not achieve keeping the temperature below 1.5. The latest report is that we have gone above 1.5, meaning the temperature compared to the pre-industrial age is now 1.5 degrees higher. For us in the Caribbean, that means droughts, irregular rainfall, lack of water, stronger storms, stronger hurricanes. It means that our very way of life is at risk. But I want to say that the Caribbean people, we are a resistant people, a resilient people rather, and we'll continue to join forces to resist what is happening.
It comes to the bigger issue of climate action. And climate change is real, and the larger countries have to come to the fore. The larger countries have to keep their promises at adaptation so we could get to mitigation. It's a serious situation. Lives, not only lives are at threat, but livelihoods are at threat. So I want to say to the people of the Grenadines to be strong, be resilient, and we'll all come together to get out of this.
We are faced with an existential threat with hurricanes and storms. I mean, just earlier this year, Grenada suffered dramatically where drought was concerned, which caused a serious water scarcity issue. And then weeks later, you're faced with this category 3, category 4 hurricane. Of course, the devastation is dramatic, and it's going to cost a lot of money to rebuild infrastructure. And an element, sometimes we look at the infrastructure, but sometimes the folks don't pay attention to people's livelihoods and the impact it will have on people for for many years to come. And so we stand in solidarity. The hurricane season has now been extended to December, no longer September. And it's a reality that we face with. But we have to be hopeful. You know, we have to do a lot more by ourselves. That's reality. And I'm urging all to exercise patience, because only by patience and working together we got to overcome this challenge. We have gone through this in the past in Grenada, and we have some experience, and certainly those experiences will be brought to bear towards the reconstruction efforts in Grenada.
Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell is satisfied with the response from his CARICOM and OECS colleagues thus far and solicits their continued support throughout the restoration process.
They see the magnitude of the disaster. Seen is believing. They've pledged more support. They have discussed sending a group of tradesmen, carpenters, masons, plumbers, electricians in the coming week to help us with at least temporarily putting on as much roofs as we can so that people could be minimized from the challenges of the weather. As you're aware, the Antigua government has members of the RSSA, so to Barbados, Guyana. We expect this weekend from St. Lucia, Dominica and Trinidad and Tobago electrical linesmen for the transmission and distribution system. So without doubt, it is really the OECS and CARICOM members that are coming to the rescue of the citizens of Grenada, CARICOM and Petit Martinique at this difficult time. So the boots on the ground are from our brothers and sisters in the region, and so I just want to express my profound appreciation again to all of the Prime Ministers for visiting.
A delegation of leaders from the region will travel to St. Vincent and Union Island next Tuesday to do damage assessments and support response efforts there following the passage of Hurricane Beryl last week.
Yes, that's a very, very good thing. And again, it's because of the leadership in our beloved Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell. You see, we told you when the NNP was condemning our Prime Minister for traveling to those different conferences and summits and events, that he has to do so, because you have to be at the table, the decision-making table, to be impactful. You have to build networks. You have to build relationships. You have to maintain relationships. That is so key. So now we've seen the results of that engagement, the many engagements. So the NNP was out there saying, well, he's traveling and he's traveling. And well, look at all the world leaders and regional leaders, sorry. Look at regional companies and so on coming to the aid of Grenada.
Comments on behalf of Grenlec, we'd like to welcome you to Grenada. We know that your work here is going to be of a great impact to the people of Petit Martinique and CARICOM. All right, thank you very much.
We're glad to be here. I'm glad to lend our assistance to our neighbors in Grenada. Will more than likely be a very interesting experience. We look forward to lending our skills to help you people get back on your feet. So we have 4 linemen. 3 of them have seasoned restoration experience and 1 person who is a little less experienced in the terms of restoration, but they all can acclimatize easily to these types of conditions because we've been here before. Restoration mode.
Yeah, so all these companies and individuals and leaders in the region, they are coming together to help Grenada, but we have an opposition force in the country who just bent on dividing our people and creating bacchanal and controversy. They just want to see Grenada on its knees, flat on its face. But look at the example of regional leaders and regional companies. That's the power company in Barbados. You know, you look at Dominica, you look at St. Lucia. I mean, it's just love and more love and more love from these companies.
Grenlec just wants to welcome Team Lucelec to assist us once again Lucilec assisted us back in 2004. In fact, we have a team member here who is returning to Grenada. Ricky is returning. He was here in 2004 and assisted us very well. And Lucilec is back again to assist us in 2024. So we thank Lucilec for their assistance again. And this is the spirit that we have within the Carolec community, where we help each other in time of need.
We are in Grenada right now to assist inline construction after Hurricane Beryl. My team consists of myself and 5 other linemen. 3 guys from our contractors and the other 2 linemen from Lucilec itself. I'm fully confident with the team that I have there. We at Lucilec have maintained a reputation overseas in hurricane restoration work. And I am expecting that the same will happen this time. And we are trying to produce as much as possible and try to restore supply to as much community as possible. This is our main aim, to just restore supply and to have customers being powered up.
Yeah, so you have to be at the decision-making table to build relationships, to build networks, to get to know people, because in your time of need, you would need them. You want them to come and help you. Remember Grenada, Grenlec in particular. I cannot remember which island that was severely impacted by a hurricane a couple of years ago. And a team of linesmen and so on from Grenlec, they went and they assisted in restoration work and so on. So sometimes people don't understand the medium to long-term benefit. Because here, BVI, someone is telling me, so BVI, when they were impacted, when they were devastated by a particular hurricane, so now they're coming to our aid. The region is coming to our aid. So sometimes you have to be at the decision-making table. You may not see the value of it now, because, I mean, the NNP, they're saying all kind of stuff about our beloved Prime Minister, and he traveling, and he going there, and he going there. But we're seeing the results of that right now. Security also. I remember police officers from Grenada going to St. Lucia, I think. And some people were saying, well, why are they going? And they left to bring peace and safety to the people of St. Lucia. Now you see the Prime Minister of St. Lucia as part of the team of regional leaders who came to show solidarity and support to, you know, to Carriacou, Petit Martinique, St. Patrick's, and Mark. So sometimes you have to see down the road. And the NNP, they have always been shallow-minded. They can only see in front of their nose, right? And many of us know that, you know, the nose kind of flat somewhat. So you understand? All right? So, so again, we have to see down the road. So while regional leaders, while the Grenadians are pulling together to help build back, the NNPs out there, in my belief, dividing and causing chaos in my belief in this place.
We have in Carriacou and Petit Martinique a contingent of soldiers from the Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force under the auspices of the RSS. We also have 8 soldiers from the Defense Force of Guyana. These 8 soldiers form part of an advanced team that is there to assess the state of buildings in Carriacou and to provide support with the relief and distribution of food and other supplies. We expect additional soldiers from Guyana to come up, we hope, by the end of the week. The initial task will be to assist us with identifying large buildings, whether they be privately owned or publicly owned, that can be repaired temporarily to ensure that we have additional accommodation for relief workers and for citizens of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We need to appreciate this is the start of the hurricane season, and therefore simple things like rainfall is going to cause considerable inconvenience to the citizens there. And we need to ensure that we have at least temporary accommodation that many of them can use should we find ourselves in a situation with prolonged rainfall, or for that matter, prolonged heat. And so the idea here is to make sure that we can identify these large centers, whether they be schools, churches, or other private residences that we can temporarily fix so that we know we have a place of shelter for citizens of Carriacou and Petite Martinique if necessary, and for persons who are coming to do relief work. We will start this process immediately. It will be a combination of private contractors in Carriacou, contractors from Grenada who have gone up to help, as well as reliance on the soldiers who are currently in Carriacou and the soldiers who are to come. The government will spare no resources in ensuring this effort takes place, because we want to ensure, as we prepare for the coming months ahead in this hurricane season, that should we face another weather system, that there is the opportunity for citizens in Carriacou and Petite Martinique to find shelter.
Yes, so that's our beloved Prime Minister leading from the front. He's not going on any battleship and hide. He's leading from the front. That is what you want to see in a leader. It's not just talk, but he's walking the walk, and he's demonstrating that every single day. And that is what many people are seeing. His leadership on display. And that is why his favorability rating is off the roof. It's 80-something% from the last survey done.
My comrade and colleague, President Ali, I want to take the opportunity to thank him and President Santoki of Suriname for the relief supplies that is shown in the background, as well as the building materials that are on this vessel. It is coming at a critical time for the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. It is perhaps the single largest physical donation of relief and building material supplies so far that we've received. It's a 19-page manifest. It's testimony to the fact that our brothers and sisters within CARICOM have not just stocked support for Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but they're demonstrating it in a timely manner and in an obvious manner. So we are really, really appreciative of the gesture. In addition, we have a total of 58 members of the Guyana Defense Force here in Grenada supporting the restoration and relief work. They are contributing tremendously, first to a sense of security, peace and calm, and to a sense of hope and optimism in particular to the people who've been impacted by this. And I can only say again on my own personal behalf, on behalf of the government and people of Grenada, how truly, truly grateful and appreciative we are for the tremendous support that we're receiving from our brothers and sisters within CARICOM.
That's the kind of leadership that's on display. That's the kind of leadership, and we really are happy with the outpouring of support from our regional brothers and sisters. All right, so the farmers, you are reassured also.
For Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources, Honorable Lennox Andrews is reassuring farmers that government, with support from regional and international partners, will help them back on their feet as it pushes ahead with its food security agenda. Based on preliminary information, the agriculture sector took the hardest blow from the hurricane, with over 80% of farms and farmers affected. Minister Andrews also encourages farmers to not lose hope despite the challenges in the wake of Hurricane Beryl.
I want to stress the need for them to remain calm and to be at ease. I've been experienced in the business of farming. They are aware that from time to time, on an annual basis, we are likely to be impacted negatively by severe weather conditions. So I know it's something that our farmers are not unfamiliar with, and in fact have developed the ability to cope with it over the years. We, from the ministry point of view, or from the ministry end, we are in fact very much on board with what our farmers have been through with the passage of the last hurricane. We are working now towards providing the necessary support to them. The support will take two different forms. There will first be the relief measures and the relief actions that we are going to take to remove some of the immediate pressures on you. And then there'll be those measures that are geared towards the rebuilding of the industry itself. So the relief measures have to do with the clearing of the fallen trees so that you can have easy access to your farms, so that you can gather and collect whatever useful products that you have. That is ongoing. And so I am asking the farmers to continue to remain strong. Help is on its way. It's coming in a big way, but we want it to be organized, and we want it to be planned, and we want it to be such that it is geared towards improving on what we have been doing in the past.
Minister Andrews also appealed to farmers to adopt climate-smart resilience strategies in their agricultural engagement, as this would be the best approach in safeguarding their livelihood. The Minister of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources earlier this year partnered with a number of value chain stakeholders in conducting a series of training in climate-smart resilience practices. This, Minister Andrews reiterated, is key to the long-term sustainability of the sector.
I think right now, where technology is and where the world is, we know how to farm to protect ourselves from hurricanes. We call that climate smart agriculture. And going forward, as part of our rebuilding, we want to introduce, as far as possible, the techniques and the technology involved in climate smart agriculture, so as to protect our farmers and to protect our farms from the vagaries of the uncertainties of the weather as experienced over the last few weeks. And therefore, I'm asking all of our farmers to be alert. As I say, you have to hold on still, because we are coming, and we want to come good, and we want to come better than what we were doing before.
Right, so that's the Honorable Lennox Andrews there. That's the way to go, my brother, because even though some of the other parishes were not directly impacted, meaning that the roof and so on
Field Hospital is now up and functional in Karakou after 5 days of intense work by the team led by Medical Director Bruce Nestle. The team consists of 30 medical staff, most of whom are volunteering their time to the cause. Dr. Nestle says it's important to have the hospital functioning since the main medical facility was severely damaged during the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
Transportation of our hospital has been a challenge, but we're happy that we've been started seeing patients yesterday, and that's been going really well. Some of the things that we're seeing right now is issues related to diabetes. There's insulin issues that we're trying and able to meet. We're also seeing some wounds that were probably occurred during the hurricane itself that maybe weren't treated properly, so we're dealing with some infection and things like that. So and just other injuries and general health concerns, heart and general health issues that you might expect or you might normally go to your general doctor for.
The hospital is equipped to treat those who sustained injuries during and after the passage of Beryl, as well as patients with diabetes and heart disease and other medical conditions.
We also are offering, we have 2 patient wards. The hospital here, as you know, was badly damaged. And so we are able to provide overnight inpatient services for both males and females. We have 10 beds each in those wards. So we're providing 24-hour service for patients that they might need. Until they have a place to keep patients overnight, we'll be here to serve as long as they need us. And when they tell us it's time to go home, or when we sense that we're really no longer needed, we'll take our chance to go home.
Samaritan's Purse is a non-denominational evangelical Christian organization providing humanitarian services for the past 54 years to meet the needs of people who are victims of war, poverty, disease, and natural disasters.
Right, so even with the Samaritan Purse being here, the NNP is playing politics with that. NNP pundits and surrogates and so on And it's all because Devon Rocher or Rache, he has been with Samaritan Purse for a period of time, right? From what we gather. And he also played some part in the politics during a period of time. Remember, he ran for the NNP and he was badly beaten. So now that he's some bishop or evangelist or something like that, some pastor, and he's involved in that, it is tainting the whole thing somewhat in my belief. And you have the NNP folks, because they're looking for credit and they believe that's an opportunity to get some political mileage. They keep referencing him, and the reason this is that, and all kind of stuff, making the thing so political and so controversial. When the Samaritan Post, they were here after Hurricane Ivan. Devon Roche was nowhere wrong, but they were here, right? They work through churches, but of course they have to go through the governments. Any government that's in power, they must give them the go ahead to come here, or else they would not be able to just enter Grenada like this. So I'm simply saying everything for the NNP. They making it a problem or some controversy or some kind of stupidness. I just don't know why. They're desperate, and everyday people are seeing that. Every single day, people are seeing that. But folks, we're almost the end of the program for tonight. I want to again say, NIS, they have 3 months for you to come in.
Insurance scheme will honor its commitment to pay unemployment benefit claims for 3 months to eligible registered employees and self-employed persons who have been displaced from their jobs as a result of Hurricane Beryl. Public Relations Officer Lisa Douglas told the Government Information Service that the unemployment benefit, which was launched in May of 2023, is designed to ease the burden of qualified affected members of the scheme.
You've lost your job, you're now unemployed. We're here to provide support. Once you were registered and contributing, you are guaranteed, once you meet the qualifying conditions, that the NIS unemployment benefit, it will be paid to you. Now the benefit claim is submitted through our web portal, my.nisgrenada.org. But anybody who is having issues, because we know right now everybody doesn't have a telephone connection, internet connection, etc. So we're asking persons, whatever way you can communicate with us to get information, to get assistance, please do so. So we have some contact numbers, our landline 440-3309. We also have WhatsApp. So we have 458-6060 or 456-4144. You can send us a message or get somebody to send a message on your behalf so that you can get whatever assistance that you require. And of course, our offices in St. George, our main office, and our sub-office in Grenville is up and running. Carriacou, as you know, is still down. But we are here at our main office and our other sub-office and via WhatsApp and social media also to provide support.
Ms. Douglas speaks to the percentage of contributions that will be paid to the eligible members.
The unemployment benefit is paid at a rate of 50% of one's insurable earnings or salary. So whatever you are contributing as a self-employed person, you will receive 50% of that amount, and also as an employee. Now, the benefit will be paid up to a period of 3 months.
Affected individuals who require assistance with submitting claims or need to make an inquiry can contact the NIS on telephone number 440-3309.
Yes, even that too, the NNP surrogates and goons, they are making or turning it into a political football too. So nearly everything regarding and surrounding this disaster, this hurricane relief and so on, it has become a political football for the NNP. I don't know, that's the NNP surrogates, goons and so on. I don't know what they would achieve by that, if they're going to get somewhere with that. I don't know. What's the objective behind it? Because so far, they are not helping themselves. Because Grenadians home and abroad just want to see Carrick and PT Martinique bounce back and, you know, recover from this, build back better. They want the relief to be distributed to all the people of Carrick and PT Martinique, the people of St. Patrick and St. Mark. They're not interested in NNP and NDC. They're not interested in the politics, right? They just want Samaritan Post to continue to do the excellent job that they're doing. They're not interested in any politics. You know, Samaritan Post is not a political organization or anything of that sort. It's a church-based organization. And they're not looking for credit, and they have traveled all around the world helping people. So to come now and try to make this thing into, it's just sickening. But I am not surprised. That is why you have Michael Batiste, who, for some strange reason, had a meeting with Keith Mitchell, and all of a sudden, he became, you know, either Paul or Saul on the way to Damascus, and you know he had this encounter, and things just changed. His name changed. He got blind. He got, you know, he's now blinded. All the things that he used to say just done. He different. One meeting, one engagement, because he's a Gary man, and the most honorable Deacon Mitchell had the whole start of the independence celebration on a particular day, and it is and then he was on that program with two posters, and they were more or less laughing at the guy, right? Because they were actually telling him what the data shows, but you know, the guy's arrogant and so on, which is really, really sad. Really, really sad. But it's what it is. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful night. I will be back with you tomorrow, God's willing, starting from 8 in the a.m. We have to continue.